Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters, and welcome to today's episode of Ask Eman Live. We're going to be here with you for the next hour to take your questions and get them answered for you by our Shaykh today, Imam Wasim Kempson. So without further ado, I'll be your host for today, brothers and sisters, and if there's any kids watching as well. And welcome to Ask Eman. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Shaykh? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm very well, jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah. Can we have a short reminder, Shaykh, as we start every show, before we move on to some questions from our brothers and sisters, inshallah?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wa sayyid al-mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. All praise belongs to Allah. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and viewers at home. So we have less than a week until the month of Ramadan, or approximately a week. Yes, less than a week, subhanallah. And we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to allow us to reach that blessed month, Ameen. Now I think I touched on some issues last night, and one of the points was that it's never too late. And if a person hasn't thought about too much what they plan to do in the month of Ramadan, it's not too late. The month of Ramadan is, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to us, that the doors of Jannah, that they are opened, and that the gates of the hellfire, they are closed, and the shayateen, that they are locked and chained up. That this is a month of mercy, a month of the Quran primarily for us, and so therefore it's incumbent, it's a must for us to prepare for this month in the very best way. A person who fails to prepare for this blessed month ultimately will not achieve what may have been in their minds in the past months, when they may have thought, even though in passing, about this blessed month of Ramadan, what can I do? If you don't plan, then it's likely that the month may pass you by, and then you may be in a state of regret. We know our beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the person may their nose be rubbed in dust. And it's a statement in Arabic that may, that person may be forsaken. That the month of Ramadan comes to that individual, وَلَمْ يُغْفَرْ لَهُ, and that the person is not forgiven. So it is a month in which we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to be forgiven. That we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower His mercy upon us. And that means that we need to engage with the many different things that we can do in the blessed month of Ramadan. So engage yourself with the Quran in any way, which way that you can. Meaning that if you are able to read it in Arabic and go maybe through some tafsir, then do that. If you can just read the Arabic, okay, you don't understand the Arabic, the Quran in its original, then after that you go through the translation of the meanings, then you do that. If you can't read the Arabic, then at least you're going through some meanings of the Quran, okay? If you can't go through the whole thing, that at least look at, and there are many things you can find online about a thematic approach of the Quran, meaning or one particular juz of the Quran. What are the main themes in that particular juz? Okay, so you establish a relationship with the Quran in the month of Ramadan. Okay, so this is the part of the planning and the things that you want to achieve, inshallah ta'ala, and no better time, because there are many Ramadan planners that you can download, things you can try to achieve on a daily basis. And outside of the situation that we are in the past, life is so busy, you think, oh, it's a waste of time, I can't do half the things. Seeing that there's mostly lockdown, I'm sure that you can really make use of those particular Ramadan planners, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the success. Ameen.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is, first of all, our next question is, please share Islamic dua to prevent the coronavirus.
Share Islamic dua? Okay, so a very easy one for us to say is the hadith of Uthman radiallahu anhu, in which he said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that whoever makes this dua and says this 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not allow them any harm to come to them. That is, Bismillahi alladhi la yadurru ma'asmihi shay'un fil ardi wala fis sama' wa huwa as-sami'ul alim. You said it 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening, and bi'idhnillahi ta'ala you'll have a protection from Allah Jalla wa'ala. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you so much, Shaykh. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in so far. We're going to take a short break now for a few minutes, and then we'll be back here with you, brothers and sisters. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. After the break, we'll be able to take more questions, inshallah. For now, assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to everyone watching at home to tonight's Ask Eman live show. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam.
We're going to go straight to our callers now. Assalamu alaikum to our first caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Shizad. I'm calling from Cleome.
MashaAllah, brother. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah. Good.
And then your question?
I want to ask a question. Basically, when you are staying awake for Sari, for Ramadan, can you possibly, is it possible to go to bed early and eat early and pray early? And then, do you have to wait for Sari time before you can, before you can, yeah, do you have to wait for Sari time before you can actually, is that Rosa valid if you go to bed before Sari time?
Okay, and do you have another question?
Yeah, the other question is, when you supplicate or you ask for forgiveness, just say you're not in wudu, can you still able to supplicate and stuff like that?
Yep, okay. Thank you so much, brother, for your questions. Stay tuned, and inshallah, the Shaykh will answer them for you in a few minutes.
Jazakallah, assalamu alaikum.
Wayak, brother. Thank you so much for calling. Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I want to say anonymous, and I'm from London.
That's fine, sister. And your question?
Well, I've got two questions. The first question is, what is the difference between Tahajud and Qiyam?
Okay.
The second question is, I wanted to find out about praying Tarawih at home. How many rakahs? What can I pray by myself? Do I have to pray with other people?
Yeah.
Because of the social distancing thing and sorry, before going back to the first question, so the difference between Qiyam and Tahajud, in terms of praying, which one do you pray first, which one do you pray last? That's it.
Okay. All right, then do you have any more questions, sister?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair for your call. Stay tuned and I'll put the question forward to our Shaykh just after our next call, inshallah. So, assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum. Are you on the line? Okay, one more time. Assalamu alaikum to, I believe, Brother Muhammad on the line. Welcome to the show. What's your question for us today? All right, then we're just going to move on. Brother Muhammad, if you'd like to call back, maybe you're still able to, inshallah. And then we can get you through to ask your question. For everyone else watching at home, you're able to give us a call on 0203 515 0769 to ask your questions, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. So the first question is from the brother who asked about waking up for suhoor.
Okay, so a suhoor is a sunnah. It's not an obligation. The Prophet ﷺ said to Saharu فَإِنَّ فِيهَا barakah, that you should take a suhoor because there is a blessing in it. Now suhoor, what is it? That is, you eat and drink anything you like before you start fasting, okay? And you leave that as late as possible, right? Now, I don't know people's situations with regards to work and family and things like that. The brother's mentioning, can I sleep a little bit earlier? Okay, if you sleep earlier, no problem. And then you wake up, obviously you have to wake up for Fajr anyway. So that being the case, during the month of Ramadan, try to implement these small sunan, if at all possible. It is not an obligation, agreed. But it is something very simple to do, inshallah ta'ala. And then you can obviously start fasting. Now remember that you make your intention that you're going to fast tomorrow, the following day. That doesn't mean, okay, that you say, oh Allah, I'm going to fast tomorrow, the 2nd or the 3rd or the 20th day of Ramadan. No need for you to do that, okay? Just you're going to fast tomorrow, and that's sufficient, meaning your intention is in your heart. That's sufficient for you, inshallah ta'ala, okay? Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. The brother's next question was regarding wudu and forgiveness, I believe.
Yep. Okay, so if you're not in a state of wudu, it is perfectly permissible for you to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, asking for forgiveness, for Allah to shower mercy upon you as you like, okay? So it's not a condition for you to be in a state of wudu. Maybe you want to read the Quran as well. You can also read the Quran from your memory. You do not have to be in the state of wudu, okay? If you want to touch the mushaf, you should be in the state of wudu, and Allah knows best.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question from the sister was, what is the difference between Tahajud and Qiyam, and which do we pray first?
Okay, so in essence, there's no difference between the two, okay? So there's not like, do I pray Tahajud first and then Qiyam? They're both a night prayer, okay? So they're just synonyms, if you like. Same two different words for the same thing we're talking about, which is the night prayer. Tarawih is also the night prayer, but it is understood that it is prayed just after Salat al-Isha, and that's what's prayed in Ramadan. Otherwise, the Qiyamul Layl or Tahajjud is the night prayer. Allahu A'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. And the last question from the sister is, how does she go about praying Qiyam at home?
Right. So next week, inshallah ta'ala, when we start Ramadan, if the person wants to pray Taraweeh, you can pray on your own if you wish. Okay. If there's family members at home, and if all the people are living at home, there's no such thing as social distancing as it stands. Social distancing is when you go outside and coming in contact with people that you don't usually have contact with. But as for your own household, there isn't any social distancing. So you praying all together, and if you are, there's a few of you in the home, it would be good for you to pray together, that whoever is the husband or the father or the brother, whoever is there wants to lead the prayer, then let them lead the prayer as a jama'ah. If they haven't memorized much of the Quran, they can hold the mushaf, okay, and they can recite and read from the Quran, and you pray, and as you like, pray 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, as you like. The Prophet ﷺ said that the night prayers prayed in twos, and then you make sure, inshallah ta'ala, best you can, that the witr is the last that you pray in the night. If you want to pray the witr together, you can also do that as well. Naam. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. I had the question I wanted to ask you, since families are at home together now, and as wonderful as it is, also probably some people are getting a bit claustrophobic, and you're at home all the time, and I've spoken to a few people the same year. Sometimes there's a bit of tension. I wanted to ask you, Shaykh, how do you develop love in a household, tolerance and love for each other, and value that relationship of family that Allah has given us? And then maybe in Ramadan we can increase this, because there's suhoor together, iftar together.
Sure. Yeah, so I think that not just Ramadan, but in all times, we should have certain characteristics as Muslims which will go a long way to help people getting on. One of them is a tasamuh, that is to be, overlook other persons and be forgiving, to be amicable as a person, okay? Not to be too coarse and harsh. That the Prophet ﷺ was not like that, was kind, compassionate, but also fair, okay? So we should have these characteristics within ourselves, and it's maybe an opportunity for us to look at ourselves a little closer, especially while we find ourselves in close quarters with our families for a longer time than we are used to. So our family members are more deserving of these kind of good traits that should be within me more than anyone else. So be forgiving, be understanding, communicate. Okay, bear in mind that you're not the only person living in that space. There are a number of people living in that space, and everybody has a right to a shared kind of fairness, and to be listened to and to communicate. Try to remove assumptions that a person said something, because a common argument is a person will have an argument with another person, right? And then the person says, well, you don't know what's in my heart. How do you know that that's what's in my heart? And the person will say, your actions are telling me that. You know this one, okay? People use this a lot. Your actions, they tell me that this is what's in your heart, which is not always the case. It's not always the case, okay? And it's not fair to say that your actions are always a reflection of what is in your heart. Maybe at times, but not always, okay? So bear in mind that the shaitan is the major shayateen. They're locked up in the month of Ramadan. And it's a good opportunity for us to, inshallah, refine our manners with our loved ones. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question is going to be from WhatsApp. But before that, we'll actually have some callers on the line. So we'll go to our brothers and sisters on the line. Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Siraj and I'm calling from Huddersfield.
MashaAllah, brother Siraj. That's a very beautiful name. And what's your question for us today?
So it's basically, is it allowed to play video games that have like animated like pictures, basically?
Okay, do you have any other questions?
No, that's the only one.
Okay, stay tuned, brother, and the Shaykh will answer your question shortly after our next call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. All right then, we'll come back to that call in a little bit, inshallah. Yeah.
I can answer the question, inshallah.
Yes,
we maybe have time. So with regards to computer games, it comes under something that's mubah. It's permissible for you to play games. getting issues with it's haram, things like this. If it's excessive playing and it's wasting your time, taking over your obligations, then yeah, of course you shouldn't let it get to that stage. As those games which involved clear haram, participating in haram and things like that, you should try to avoid them. Okay, vast majority of games that they have characters in them. Okay, these are cartoons and things like that. Then if a person wants to do that, then yeah, it's permissible to do that. But try to be wise and be careful in the type of games that you play with, that you're not get involved in gambling and lewdness and things like that. You need to be very, very careful of that. But in general, games are mubah, permissible, but you're guided with the Islamic guidelines on that. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in so far. We've reached the end of this part of our show. So we're going to take a short break for a few minutes, and then we'll be back to continue with you. So once we're back, we're able to take your questions on 0203 515 0769. For now, stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone watching at home with us, and welcome back after the break. We're back now for another 30 minutes with you, brothers and sisters, live. So if you have any questions, pick up the phone, give us a call, or send your questions to our WhatsApp number, email address. And if you're watching along on YouTube, you're able to leave your questions at the comment section, inshallah. So, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
We're going to go now to our next caller of the show. So, Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. I'm calling from London. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome, sister. And your question?
My question is about paying or receiving interest on a borrowed amount from a bank, whether it's for any kind of loan or whether it's for a mortgage loan. I've always heard from different ulama scholars that the receiving and giving of interest is completely forbidden in Islam. But I was just speaking to a family member and he mentioned a scholar where he was saying that, for example, if you borrow an amount for a mortgage, obviously to buy a house, over 25 years, for example, if you borrow, for example, £100,000 over 25 years, and they charge you interest on that amount, surely that £100,000 over the 25-year term has devalued in its amount. So does that justify the interest that they'll be charging per month, if that makes sense? Is that clear or?
That clear, Sheikh? Okay, yes, sister, that's very clear. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Before we move on to our next call, Sheikh, do you want to answer that? Maybe?
No, we'll take time, take the call.
Yeah, next one? Okay. So we'll move on to our next caller. Sister that called, do stay tuned for your answer. Okay, then, so no more callers on the line. So, brothers and sisters, if you have any calls, any questions you'd like to ask the Shaykh, you're able to reach us on all the details coming and going at the bottom left side of your screen, inshallah.
Okay. Bismillah. So regarding riba, usury, interest, the issue from an Islamic point of view, from a foundational, beginning, starting point, it's black and white. It is min kaba'ir al-dhunub. It is from the major sins for a person to consume or get involved in some form of ribawi or interest form of transaction. It is forbidden in many verses in the Quran. It is forbidden in various and many narrations that we find in the authentic sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was ijma', there was consensus amongst all of the scholars about the prohibition of riba. This is the first point. The second point, in different scenarios that are given to ulama, given to scholars as to taking loans, buying houses, and so on, the vast majority do not permit it. There is a minority view that when purchasing a house, and the reasons that are given for that is not what was mentioned in by the sister here in this situation, where about taking out a loan and something having devaluing and whatnot. If a person, if any individual is making or sharing something from their own selves, who's not qualified to do that, then this is haram. It's not allowed for you to do that. Okay? وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits us from speaking about Allah's deen without any knowledge. Or secondly, that somewhere and somehow I found an opinion that is in line with what I want to do, which is ittiba' al-hawa, which is also following one's desires, which is also very dangerous. Okay? Now, what I would say, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to engage in all that is pleasing and halal, and to stay away from haram. That something like that, really, the justification has no basis in the deen. Okay? That you take out a ribawi loan, and that somehow, because there's a devaluing, that somehow that covers what is going to be charged. So this opinion is, this view is a very weak opinion, Allah knows best. And the view of the majority of the ulama, I believe to be correct. And what I would also say is that if a person is interested in taking out some form of loan for a home, because it's not fair for me just to blanket say it's all haram in that fashion, because there are some institutions which are trying to do things in a halal way. Okay, it's not all around the country, but in certain cities there are some projects involved which can be permissible. Okay, and then they can be looked into. So if a person is serious about a situation, they present something to somebody who's qualified and specialized in that subject, then you can put that to them, that you can get an answer for yourself. Okay, but finding an answer which is maybe applicable to a different country, different people, where it's coming from, because that's what is in line with what I want to do, this is something we should be very, very careful of. Allahu A'lam.
Thank you so much, Shaykh. We're going to go to our next question on WhatsApp now. And our question is, Assalamu alaikum. If there is a very young child who requires one of his parents to sleep with them, otherwise they will keep getting up and crying at night. The child will cry at times of getting up, like at Fajr, and cause delay or missing the prayer time. What is the advice in this situation?
So, Muhammad, there's some details here, but I don't know to the extent. If it's Fajr time or Maghrib time, which we know that the prayer time is a little bit shorter, then we know we need to offer that salah in that time. So if one of the parents goes to pray and then they swap over, then they should do that, inshallah ta'ala. If there are more pressing circumstances concerning that, then maybe they can actually speak to somebody in person to explain there's further information that you need to know. They can do that, inshallah ta'ala. And Allah knows best. May Allah will make it easy for you all.
Thank you so much, Shaykh. Our next question is, is it permissible for a lady to visit her loved ones at the graveyard?
So in general, is it allowed for women to visit the graveyard? There is a view that it is allowed, it is permissible for a woman to visit the graveyard, but it isn't to be, there's a couple of conditions concerning that. Number one, it is not too frequent. From time to time, it is permissible. Also, the purpose of going there is to remind yourself of death, as the Prophet told us in the hadith, to visit the graveyards, because it's a reminder of death for you. If you're there, you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, asking Allah Jalla to forgive the deceased and those who passed away. And also that you're able to, because we are human beings, we're emotional beings, that you may get upset, but when you get upset, it doesn't get out of control. Okay? If this is the case, then it's permitted, inshallah, wallahu a'lam. But, of course, the situation as it stands at the moment, people going to graveyards and things like that, I think there are some things in place which stop people going to the graveyards at the moment. Only allowing people who are attending funerals for the burials of those family members. So, but outside of the kind of circumstances, it is, as I said, wallahu a'lam.
Thank you, Shaykh. Just a reminder to everyone watching at home that we're live on Ask Eman, and we're going to be here up with you up until 9 p.m. If you have any questions, brothers and sisters, give us a call on 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, you can send your questions to our WhatsApp number, email address, and if you're tuned in on YouTube, you're able to leave your questions at the comment section, inshallah. And with that, we're going to go straight to our next caller. Assalamu alaikum to our brother or sister. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Mohammed. I'm calling from Slough.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Muhammad from Slough. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing okay. How are you both doing?
I'm good. Jazakallah khair, you Shaykh.
Yeah, very well. Jazakallah khairan.
Alhamdulillah. And your question, brother?
Brother, Ramadan is approaching very quickly, and unfortunately, because of this coronavirus situation, it's likely masjids are going to be closed.
Yes.
The question is, for Taraweeh prayers, is it permissible to pray Taraweeh at home while following, let's say, a transmission online from some other masjid, or that might be broadcast on Eman Channel?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's all, brother.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned, and inshallah, I'll put the question forward to our Shaykh after our next callers, inshallah. Thank you so much, brother, for your call. Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother.
Yeah, my name is Imran. I'm calling from Huddersfield.
MashaAllah, Brother Imran. How are you today?
I'm okay, alhamdulillah. I just want to know how does one come about with when it comes to dealing with depression?
Okay.
I've been having depression for some time now, and obviously, like it gets to a point where I feel like sometimes like taking my own life and stuff like that. And but is there anything that I can do or anything like that? That'll be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. May Allah relieve you of your burden and make it easy for you. Shaykh, do you want to answer that right now?
I think the two questions require me just to a little bit of depth, especially the second one. And it's important that the brother gets good and proper advice on it, inshallah. So I think we'll take it.
You're right,
break,
Shaykh. Yes, because we have a break coming up now.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Thank you, Shaykh, for keeping an eye on that for me. We're going to take a break now, brothers and sisters. So the brothers that just called, please stay tuned. We're going to answer your questions after our break. And also for our callers that are waiting on the line right now, please hold on and we'll get to you right after our break. For now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to tonight's Ask Eman Live. We're back for the last part of our show today, which should be for around another 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, pick up the phone, give us a call, or you can send your questions to our WhatsApp number, which is on 074 2239 8833, or you can leave your questions at our YouTube channel, where we're live streaming there as well. Okay, so we'll start with Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Welcome back after the break. And we'll start with our next caller, and then we'll come back to our questions, which we got from our brothers before the break, inshallah. So, Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name, and where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mohammed, calling from London. I wanted to ask the Shaykh with regards to workplace pension.
Okay.
I don't think I have to go into detail. I think the Shaykh really knows what the workplace pension is and how it works. But I just wanted to know exactly what Islam has to say about it, because I was reading a fatwa which almost compared it to gambling. And it said because you're giving away money right now and you don't exactly know what you're going to be receiving in the future, it sort of compared it to gambling. But so I don't really know exactly what Islam has to say about it, specifically from a UK perspective. So perhaps the Shaykh could shed some light on that, inshallah.
Thank you so much, brother, for your call. Stay tuned, and the Shaykh will answer your question shortly, inshallah. For everyone else watching at home, you're also able to give us a call if you'd like to ask any questions. We're going to be live until 9 p.m, inshallah. So, Shaykh, our question was our first question. I think we answered the one.
It was about Taraweeh, virtual Taraweeh.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the one.
Okay. So the brother's asking a good question. It's going to be a common question about it was the brother from Slough, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About praying Taraweeh virtually. It is not permissible. Allahu A'lam. There is a minority, very much a minority of you, that allows praying behind, if you can hear the Imam. However, the vast majority of the ulama are of the view that it is not permissible. And this isn't exactly a new issue, to be honest with you, okay? And opening up the door to allow people to pray virtually, really on the basis to justify it, is not even restricted to this time now, saying that we can't go to the masajid because they're closed, meaning that, okay, outside of the situation, when masajid are open, are we allowed to pray virtually? If they say no, you can't, it's like, okay, so then on what principles are you even guiding the situation by? So it's almost like you're going through justifying this position with really no quyud, with really no restrictions and basis from the Sharia. Okay, so therefore you should not pray behind any virtual feed. Rather, it is a sunnah prayer. You should pray in your homes with your families at different levels. Some you might have a hafiz in your home. Okay, you don't have a hafiz. You've got somebody who can read the Quran proficiently. Okay, you don't have that. Then you've got somebody who can recite some chapters from the last part of the Quran. Okay, you've got somebody who can't do that. Then they can just write. I'm going down in levels, if you like. Somebody can recite from Juz' Amma. Well, they can't recite some of that. Then at the very least, okay, then you pray some raka'at in the evening. Even if you recite some short chapters and repeat those chapters, la haraj, no problem. Okay, but praying virtually, I feel that the justification for that is da'if, is very, very weak, and there's no justification for that. And the vast majority of the ulama are of the view that you pray Tarawih. If you need to, pray at home in the way that's easier for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us all. Allahumma ameen.
Ameen. Thank you, Shaykh. Our next question, Shaykh, was from our brother. May Allah heal him and help him regarding dealing with depression.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say to you, brother, is that never despair from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never despair. You have a number of things at your disposal, inshallah ta'ala, to help you get through this situation, as for anyone who's going through this situation. And only they themselves know the difficulties, if you like, that may be on what they're going through from one day to the next. But you should realize that there are professionals, inshallah ta'ala, who are able to help you, meaning that you go to your GP, okay? There's nothing wrong with that, Okay, going to a professional medical person and seeking and finding out what options you have to get some support on that. And I would advise very strongly for you to do that, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, if you're not doing that. If you are doing that, then continue with that. And also from the spiritual side, as we are Muslims, there are many things that we can do. The most important is to realize that everything comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He tests us in different ways. And the more severe or the stronger the test that we have, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, is a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you and wants you to gain, raise yourself in levels and gain so much reward. So every single thing that you say, every dua that you make, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears you. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the ability to make things easier for you gradually, even if it means happening quicker than you actually think, subhanAllah. At times you think that recovering and getting better is a long way away. But it is important during these situations that you take things step by step. Don't rush the situation. Don't think that I had a good day today, maybe tomorrow is not so good, that you go back. No. Maybe you had some good times. This is the life for everybody. You go up and down, okay? But never forget that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always there to help you and to allow you to go through the situation and to get out, inshallah ta'ala. And don't forget to seek the professional help. And Allah knows best.
Thank you, Shaykh. Just to reiterate, everyone watching at home, anyone who's dealing with the same situation, including our brother as well, we do advise you strongly to also take the means of seeking medical help from professionals that understand the field, as well as taking advice from ourselves on the show from the spiritual means of the help that you can get as well. So for everyone watching at home, if you'd like to ask a question, we're still live on the show right now. You can give us a call on 0203 515 0769. Otherwise, you can send us a WhatsApp message with your question, or you can send your message on our YouTube comment section of the live stream, inshallah. So our next question, Sheikh, is going to be from the brother who called regarding the workplace pension.
Yeah, okay, so there are many different forms of this. I spoke to myself having spoken to brothers and scholars who are in this issue, in this field, and that it's not gambling. I mean, maybe sometimes we get fatwa sites from different countries, and the way it's explained to them is in a way that they think it's a form of gambling, okay? But these workplace pensions is inshallah permissible in that you know that when your money is taken, and if it's going to be used in different places, that it's done in a halal way, okay? Then it's permissible, inshallah ta'ala, and you have you know exactly what's happening with your money. Then from this perspective, inshallah ta'ala, it's absolutely fine, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. If you have any further questions, what I would say is that there are financial specialists who are always up to date with the different kind of rules and regulations and how they can be changed as time goes on. For you to get in contact with them as well, inshallah ta'ala, to find out if the ruling changes concerning your situation. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you so much, Sheikh. We have 3 of our brothers and sisters on the line right now, so we're going to try and get through the questions as quickly as possible, inshallah, because we only have 3 minutes left of the show. So to our first caller, Assalamu alaikum, what's your question for us today?
The Shaykh, in the present... Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right, okay. In the present situation of this coronavirus, there are some people who are having underlying conditions which otherwise they will fast it, but given the very unknown situation of this virus, plus other circumstances in the family, can the fasting be postponed?
Okay, do you want to do a question at a time, Sheikh?
Take them all the calls and we'll go through them quickly, inshallah.
All right then. Thank you so much, Brother Saeed. It's lovely to hear your voice. So assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question for us today?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I wanted to ask a quick question about paying your zakat. Many of us pay our zakat during the month of Ramadan because of the increased rewards behind doing it during that period. But if you pay your zakat before the month of Ramadan with the intention of getting the same reward, is that still possible, inshallah? Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
All right, thank you so much, brother, for your call. Assalamu alaikum to our next caller. Welcome to the show. And what's your question for us today? Assalamu alaikum, brother Imran. Are you on the line?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm over here.
MashaAllah. You can go ahead with your question.
I just wanted to ask, in Ramadan, can I Hello, can you hear me, Shaykh?
We can hear you, Brother Imran.
Okay, I've just come out of the room now, yeah. I just wanted to ask, can I lead the Tarawih at home and my family praying behind me with looking inside the Quran? Because I'm not hifz or anything. I just want to pray a bit more than the Juz' Ummah, what we know, and try and complete the Tarawih throughout the whole of Ramadan that way.
All right then, brother. Thank you so much. So, Shaykh, pushing fast forward.
Inshallah ta'ala. Okay, brother, barakallahu feekum, jazakumullah khair for all the callers. You can hold the mushaf while you're leading your family for Taraweeh. Absolutely no problem, inshallah ta'ala.
And the next question was pushing the fast forward due to coronavirus.
The issue on this, I would quite simply say, is that everybody, if you're capable of fasting, then you should start fasting. It's not just an open blanket that you just delay your fasting. For what reason? Okay, everyone is, if you're not ill, no underlying issues, then you should fast. And if it becomes too difficult, like anyone else, you have the opportunity to break it. Wallahu a'lam.
And paying zakat before Ramadan.
If you want the reward of paying zakat in Ramadan, and the time is during Ramadan, just simply wait till Ramadan and pay it, and then you can be sure, inshallah ta'ala, you get a reward for it, bismillah.
Thank you, Shaykh. That brings us to our last few seconds. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in today. We'll be back on Monday at 8 p.m. For now, Assalamu alaikum.